there another dream role out there that you want to manifest?
I really want to play Storm. I know it sounds frivolous, but I think we haven't covered how grand she is and all of that inner turmoil that she has. So I think there's a world in which we could, do something like that.
You know, we all want things in life, and sometimes there are those of us that just don't get those things because, it's just not for us. I wanted to be a jockey. Yes, that was one of my dreams because I love horses so much, and I thought that, playing the Gallop Racer games, that was true to the form. You own your horses and you race them. That's not actually what happens. And funny enough, even though I'm very short, I apparently am a little taller than what is normal for jockeys. Wow, okay, well, whatever. Okay, so maybe I could have been a jockey. I'm 5'2", it is what it is, but either way, that kind of lifestyle is not for the weak. So someone's trying to play Storm from X-Men, saying you want to play this character and follow behind Halle Berry is just
wild.
Halle Berry is one of the most beautiful women in the world. Filling her shoes after she plays an iconic role such as Storm is not going to be an easy feat, and it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest. Like, Cynthia, I'm sorry, but you're not hot enough to play this role. Not even I or a lot of other people are hot enough to play this role, or most roles in Hollywood. And yet you have these fish finger licking people coming out thinking they can just play any role because that's what they want. When you look at the last person who played Storm, Alexandra Shipp, I wouldn't say she's anywhere near the beauty of Halle Berry, but she's certainly way more pretty than...
You know what I mean?
There are certain people fit for certain roles, and they have to look the part in order to play the role. Sometimes people will bend the will a little bit if the person is an extraordinary actor. However, based on what I've seen of Cynthia Erivo, having watched Wicked, and that being the highlight of her career, she's not a strong actor, coupled with the fact that she would be grossly miscast for the role based on her looks. Not being mean, just being real. That's what Hollywood's always been about. You can't not have both. Halle Berry wasn't a strong actress as Storm. There were times when she had a very strong performance in certain films, but let's be honest, she got her roles mostly because of her beauty. So that worked for her, and a lot of the women who had their beauty, they could have that carry them and then in time gain the experience so that they're just not a pretty face. Some people never get around to it, but some people end up getting around to it and evolving their skill set so it catches up with their beauty. However, she had the beauty to start with. She was freaking gorgeous. And even in her old age, she's still good looking. Like, can you believe this woman at the time she took this picture is 58? And again, not trying to be mean, my filter's just gone right now. Maybe I'll regret this later, but I'm just being real. Even currently how Halle Berry is right now, she's still way more gorgeous, and I would say way better of a casting choice to play a Storm in her current state than this person, who I think is much younger than she is, but somehow looks much older. Even when you consider how she looks with hair and makeup and all of that, she still doesn't have the look for Storm. I just went on Pinterest, and I'm not saying that these are the perfect casting choices for Storm, but already you could see that just these random girls on Pinterest that I found are way more beautiful than Cynthia Erivo. I mean, really? There is a certain look, and any of these people would be monumentally better of a choice for Storm in terms of the looks department than Cynthia. Now, as of 2025, Cynthia is 38 years old, and there are some people who, like Halle Berry, have the genetics to keep their looks for a very long time. Sometimes it's genetics, and sometimes it's them really taking care of themselves, or a combination of both. But if they're planning on carrying on this franchise for a while, starting at this age, unless they're telling the story from another era in Storm's life, doesn't seem like the right choice to me either. The other thing that I wanted to discuss, and this is important because people might overlook this, is the stage presence or online presence or celebrity presence that one presents in Hollywood. Now, if this person who has recently been heavily criticized because of very stupid things that she's done recently, like talking down to the audience and making everything about her, decides to star in a role of a very iconic character that people love, but her narcissism and her unprovoked attacking the audience is still fresh in everyone's mind, minds and at the forefront of even the marketing or this character, it's gonna hurt the character depiction and the movie or movies.
I'm a narcissist.
This woman is doing the complete opposite of damage control. If a raging, destructive fire was a person, that's what Rachel Zegler would be to Disney, even though they're doing a good job of burning themselves down well on their own. But the Snow White that hadn't even been released at the time of this video was already heavily hated, and while 20% of it might have been because Disney has just lost its audience, the other 80% of that reason is strictly because of this woman. And granted, she's very pretty, but her attitude makes her very unappealing as a person, even for people to look at her. So then how are you gonna have someone like this, who is clearly entitled and was going off of the deep end because fans made an altered poster to fit the original musicals poster, and oh my god, they hid her eyes and put different lipstick on her, even though there are several shots in the movie where the hat hides her eyes, and show her undeserving entitled personality by saying that this is the wildest and most offensive thing she's ever seen from on high in her mansion, and how apparently her fans doing this, that had nothing to do with her by the way, somehow erases her, and it's deeply hurtful. You can just smell and taste the narcissism coming off this post. But that alone is one of the reasons that it's going to be a very bad choice. She's not attractive enough to play Storm. I don't think she's appealing enough as an actor to do that strong of a job to play Storm, especially since to me she does not have the look. Could they pull off makeup and CGI to make her look appealing? I don't. They would have to use a lot. And yes, people are gonna draw the comparison. It's like taking an iconic role that Henry Cavill played and giving it to someone like Steven Seagal. Do they both have potential? I would say Henry Cavill is a damn good actor. And even if he was like Keanu Reeves, where he couldn't act and wasn't super attractive, at the very least, what works for Keanu is everybody loves him. He's likable, even when his acting sucks. He's good with martial arts stuff, but when you see him not in his movie role and he's just being himself, he's a sweet person, so it makes it easy to support him, and he's very humble, so it makes it easier to relate to him. You can't look busted and then have a busted attitude on top of that. And I'm not saying that all of these actresses that act like this look busted, but when you have that really entitled attitude about you coming from a place of, oh, I'm oppressed and I want to represent because people don't know what it's like to be me, when you're sitting on millions of dollars and looking down at the audience for simply having fun and taking artistic liberty of changing a poster, and then you make it all about you and how somehow people are oppressing you or erasing you, you put a very bad taste in everyone's mouth. And so anything that you're associated with, people want to have nothing to do with it, and it makes you look uglier than you probably are. If she was a nice person, or she was very sweet and she connected with her audience, even if she didn't agree with the poster and she said, thanks guys for showing your support, it's exciting to see all these different fan edits, I hope that you guys will help me and support my movie, people would look at her as the most beautiful person in the world because of how she treats her fans or audience. Even if these actresses already get paid, a lot of them are of the mindset that they don't need people anymore, because you can get paid for a movie, but then you have to get cast for another movie and it has to do well. And if the next movie people don't like you and nobody's coming out to see it or support it, you won't get paid again. Maybe you will, but when the businesses start taking losses and they start realizing that people don't want to see you because you have so much bad juju attached to your name, you're going to become irrelevant. I know it's hard, but as a rich actress, you have to find out some kind of way that you can tap in and relate to your audience. And Cynthia has failed at every corner with this. And like I said, as you've seen the iterations before, I just don't think this is the right role for her. Not the right look. You can even see this picture here where she has a wig on where I guess it could look like Storm's hair, and she looks like a church grandma to me. That woman that would catch the Holy Spirit and throw off the sheet that she had in her lap so you know your knees are not exposed when you're sitting and wearing your skirt. Perfume wafting off of her, her speaking in tongues, doing the chicken dance as she's dancing in her high heels, closing her eyes, shouting about the Holy Spirit. That's the look that she gives me. Not the, hey, I am the beautiful, iconic Storm who has been played by beautiful and younger people. And I think it's important that people just be real with everyone. Like, we're all gonna get old. And if we were trying to do certain jobs, let's say we reach our 70s and we're like, I would love to play a superhero, unless it's a very fringe situation, most people wouldn't want to cast you at 70. Like, I see when Robert De Niro had played in The Irishman and there was a scene of him kicking someone's ass, me and my husband were freaking laughing because you could tell he's old and stiff, and it looks as though that person is just lying there and letting him do this. It's not believable in the least that he was able to kick that much younger guy's ass that's more muscular in tone than he is. It just looked ridiculous, and it almost felt cruel to put this old man in this role and make him look like a damn fool. Not saying the movie itself was like horrible, but that kind of ruined the immersion for me. Like, just look at this scene when Robert De Niro in The Irishman brings this guy out and he's just like stiffly kicking him. You can see that the kicks are not even connecting. This was so bad. Like, nothing is happening. Look at his feet. It doesn't touch that guy once. It doesn't touch him once. They're trying to make it look like he's actually stepping on him, and Robert De Niro looks like he's barely able to like hold himself up. It's very embarrassing. Even the people of the comments are saying the guy wasn't screaming in pain. He was begging them not to film the scene. It looks like a 76-year-old man pretending to beat up a man. Robert De Niro moving like all his joints are made out of cement. Thank you. See, we weren't the only people who saw that. It was terrible. There are just some roles that, yes, Robert De Niro is a fantastic actor, but for action scenes like this, I do not think he would have been the right cast for this. Dude taking the beating gave it his all he deserves. Oh my god. I'm baffled how a director of Martin Scorsese's caliber looked at this and actually thought it was okay. I don't think I'll ever understand why Scorsese didn't just get a double for this scene. Exactly! Considering how far away the shot is, there's just no way a 75-year-old man can make it look like he's a 30-year-old handing out a beating. Thank you! Thank you! Thank you. You see, people aren't being mean. People have eyes. And when people, like directors and these studios, try to make it look as though the audience doesn't have eyes or try to pretend that, oh, the audience won't see it, they're not seeing what they're actually seeing, it's going to reflect in your work. And so yes, let's see if they do give her this role, how they're going to pull off this 38-year-old person who doesn't have a nice rapport with a lot of the audience out there because of how she behaved and doesn't have the strongest acting chops or the looks for Storm somehow pull off being a goddess icon. I just will never understand some of the choices that Hollywood makes. It's like they keep making all the wrong decisions for, I don't know, just because they know on principle, hey, this is the right decision. You know what we're gonna do? Not make the right decision. And they keep doing that over and over again. They haven't even done anything. It's just her saying that she wants the role. But if they cast her to play a villain like the Camp Cretaceous Raptor lady, I think she would kill it in a role like this. They look equally as horrifying. And there's nothing wrong with that when you can make money off of that kind of role. It doesn't have to be horror, but it sure as shit shouldn't be Storm, unless Storm is very old. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think I'm being horrifically mean? Or do you think that we should just use logic and cast people for roles that they fit in? Like Leonardo DiCaprio, he used to be very beautiful. Is he a nice looking old man? Sure. But could he once again fill the role that's intended to be played by a 25 to 30-year-old handsome version of himself? Definitely not. It's just the way life is, and I think people should be more honest about things like that. But anyway, maybe I'm doing too much.